Ladies and boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, I have some great news regarding Kaspa. No, it's not news from Kaspa themselves, but it is in terms of the technical analysis, right? Before we jump into technical analysis, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that Kaspa is almost at 250,000 followers, which obviously it's just a small thing, right? It's just a small thing, but we still keep up with it. But I do think this coin will be blowing up over altcoin season. And I do think this is going to be one of those coins that does have over 1 million followers by the end of this cycle. We can see the last thing they said was on May 5th, the Crescendo live update. We went from 1 BPS to 10 BPS. And if you don't know, let me just inform you for the next 30 seconds. All right, just listen. Practically, this coin just pack-a-punched and became 10 times the coin it was on May 5th. Okay, we went from 1 BPS, 1 block per second, to 10 blocks per second, becoming the fastest, becoming the fastest there is, right? And the thing is, this coin is going to be a scaling coin. The goal of this coin is to eventually get to 100 BPS and then 250 BPS. So think about it. This coin is here to stay. I am super, super high on this coin. I absolutely do love this coin. I cannot wait to see how it is going to be doing over the next few months. I know a lot of people are kind of still 50-50. Some people think this is, the price is going to do well. Some people think it's going to do whatever. I personally think, I know actually, that it is going to do fantastic. And we're going to cover everything right now. So when we go to the technical analysis, first things first, right? Let's go back a little bit because why some people are a little bit pessimistic. We can see that it broke out in, let's just say, the beginning of November of 2023, right? It went all the way up to 15.5 cents, let's just say, right? Boom, we were at 15.5 cents. Then we went down, accumulated for a couple of weeks. Then we continued to go up. We went to practically 19 cents. And again, we had a nice, pullback, very, very healthy pullback, in fact. And then when we hit our all-time highs, we were at 20 cents. But we can see that, here we hit, what was it? 15.5 cents halfway through November. Then halfway or late February, we actually hit, the 19 cents. And then in July of 2024, practically beginning of August, we hit 20 cents. So, price wasn't really rising that much over the year. It was just mainly accumulation, which is why a lot of people are kind of like, about this coin. But I truly do think this coin is going to really blow the crypto markets, really take over. And I am super, super, super optimistic about this coin. We can see in recent times we had a very, very fundamental retest, right? One thing I noticed about this coin, its price action is very, very unique and different. Its fundamental retests are looking always great. They truly, truly do, right? We covered any type of imbalance we had left. And then we also just retested off of the literal all-time highs before we blew up. So very, very fundamental, very, very nice, which is what I love to see with coins, right? And then we can see if we go onto something like the monthly, that we actually have a massive support and resistance somewhere around the, high 10s to 11 cents area, okay? And we can actually see that if we go on the weekly, we closed above it for the first time in weeks, right? The last time we closed above 11 cents, ladies and gentlemen, was, all the way back in the end of January. Yes, like these candles, right? This green candle over here, it closed almost at 11 cents, but it's been a couple of months and it's been a wild ride. The reason why this is so super, super important in my eyes and in my opinion is because this is ultimately, confirming that we are super bullish on the higher time frame. I mean, just look at it even on the monthly, right? On the monthly, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 monthly candles creating some type of support and resistance. And even if we go lower, you could debate that 1, 2, 3 of these candles are also some type of, support and resistance, just a little bit lower though, right? But overall, this general area, let's just say from practically 10 cents to 11 cents, is a very, very sacred and important for this coin. We can see that once we also take the Fibonacci tool from the all-time high and we just, boom, put it here, we can see we are making super, super nice progress. But yeah, look, for the first time in many, many weeks, we closed above this. So now we turn this resistance, right? Because this used to be a floor, right? When we used to bounce around roughly more or less the 10 cent mark to 11 cent mark, this used to be our floor, okay? but then it turned into a roof. So it was bad. We had to break out of it, and we did. We closed above it. We closed at, like I said, 11.5 cents, a little bit higher. So now what I expect for this coin is to just look to respect this area, right? The maximum pullback I would expect is right below 10 cents going into this weekly order block. But if anything, that would be more of a fake out. Overall, I expect us to hold this. I really, really do. Why? Because the markets are looking good, right? If we go to the markets, we can see that Bitcoin is chilling near almost the all-time highs, right? The all-time highs are at almost 110K. We are literally at roughly 104K, right? A couple $1,000s below the all-time highs. So, there's nothing, there's no indication that we are bearish. I know people were very, very scared a couple of weeks ago, but we can see in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, we have recovered from 74,000 and a half to 105,000. So very, very big gains, very, very big gains, over 25K in gains in just 5 weeks is what we love to see. That is what I love to see. Absolutely fantastic. And I do not expect this momentum to slow down too much, right? Maybe a week here and there, a couple days sideways movement, maybe a week pullback, whatever. But overall, I expect us to really continue pushing up higher, right? Because here's what the market's telling me on a bigger time frame. We were retesting off of these highs over here, right? These highs, this used to be a roof. Then we were respecting it for 7.5 months. And then we broke out, right? We broke out. We went sideways for roughly, let's say 2.5 months. We went down. We were creating a higher low. We had this low over here, which was its purpose was to retest off of these highs. And then we were looking to create a higher low, which also kind of fundamentally retested near this area, right? We didn't need the biggest full pullback. Is because we were just sitting here for 7.5 months and then we finally pushed up. So we didn't need a full-on correction, a full-on this, a full-on that. We didn't need that. But in general, we got the bigger picture, right? We got the picture down of this being a higher low than this. And fundamentally, right, the markets follow in a staircase, one like this, right? They follow in a staircase when they're in an uptrend. So I overall expect us to be pushing up. I really, really do. In between, there might be a little bit slow movements, maybe a week of manipulation here and there. But overall, the trend is up. We know global liquidity is going to be smashing into the markets over the next couple of minimum 2 months, right? Minimum 2 months. So really, really expect some solid gains. And that applies for something like Kaspa, okay? That really, really does. Yes, it also helps that Bitcoin dominance is down to, 63%. I do expect it to roughly go down to 62 to 60%, more or less bounce off from this zone before it continues pushing up higher. But I also know that there's just more money being, there's more money being flooded into the markets, and I expect there to be a lot of money. And Kaspa is going to get some of that money, whether or not dominance is against us or for us, right? Even in the short term, and I say short term, let's just say a couple weeks to 2 months, I do expect this coin to already be recovering to all-time highs and even preparing, possibly, respecting the all-time highs and preparing in the future to, to blast off, right? This coin can very well blast off twice. The first time could be when altcoin dominance breaks a decent amount. Kaspa may fly. Kaspa may go to whatever certain amount of cents. Let's just say between 40 and 50. Then we're going to have accumulation on Bitcoin dominance for a couple weeks, which I expect Kaspa to also be accumulating, building a floor before Kaspa does wondrous numbers. Now, I personally expect this coin to be hitting at least a minimum of $1.70. And I think that's still more on the generous side, because if we go and look at Kaspa, right, Kaspa, there we go. We are 36th in the world. We have 3 billion market cap, 166 million volume, which is absolutely fantastic. What we love to see, and we're still not listed on some of the biggest exchanges. So we don't need them. We really, really don't. We are organic. We will pump exchanges, institutions. Everyone will jump on the bandwagon sooner than later. And I do think eventually we will get listed on the big exchange. I think there's some type of deal will happen. Something will happen for sure. But as of right now, it's not that relevant. So we can see, right? We can see that we are absolutely smashing it. And we can see if we were to 10x, that would be roughly $1.20, 30 billion. If we were to go to 60 billion, that would be, over $2. And for me, this is one of those tokens that I think is going to be between that 35 to 45 billion zone very, very easily, right? Very, very easily. So like I said, even if we were to 10x, which is around 30 billion market cap, that would be $1.20. We add an extra 15 billion market cap, right? That's going to take us upwards of what, like $1.80 or something. So I'm telling you, I'm super, super high on this project. I absolutely love this coin. No, everyone calls this crazy until it plays out. Remember, something like Dogecoin, right? We can go to Dogecoin for a second. I know Doge is a meme and it's a little bit different circumstance, but this is kind of the same thing. Dogecoin at one point was all the way down here. Remember, this is how the charts looked at. Okay, so when you looked at it in real time, it was all the way down here. And then it was like, whoa, it pumped so much. And then boom, right after our accumulation for a couple of weeks, we pumped even higher, right? Insane gains. If you bought somewhere anywhere before those couple of pumps, you could have made a lot of money, a lot. Now, I'm saying that you're going to get the same ratio with Kaspa, but you generally get the same picture, right? I expect it to be recovering. I expect there to be some kind of pump, and then I expect this second big pump to be happening when altcoin season happens. Now, could there be even a bigger pump to $3, $4, $5 when there's a possible second pump happening in the crypto sphere? Possibly, but we're not going to go that far. We're going to focus on the first pump because the second pump is never promised. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy the Kaspa content. I really do enjoy making it. I really do enjoy covering this coin. I really do think this project is going to do wonders. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What is your personal price prediction? What is your goal for this cycle? And I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.